Hello, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords. Eric and I are joining forces again to bring you a brand new show called Order 66.
Together, we'll be reviewing all the upcoming Star Wars content, and we hope that you'll be joining us.
Hello, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords. For the last time, at least for the Skeleton Crew show, you are watching Order 66. And to talk about the season finale, we have brought a special guest, our dear friend Nico. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Good. And yourself?
Pretty good.
Yes, very good, very good.
So it's over. We waited all this time now, and
It's over.
That was a long week. That was a very long week. Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but now we got a lot of waiting until, I guess, the next content to come along. So we'll wait to see what happens. But I say let's dive right in. Let's briefly go over some of the episodes and concentrate maybe a little bit more on the overall show afterwards. But just like in the spirit of what we've done previously, if we go through the episode 7, because I mean obviously the episode 7 and 8 had a lot more action. There was not many introductions or anything like that, so there was a few Easter eggs. I think Dom, you noticed a few things. And on my part, there was stuff like when Jod turns on Brutus, we saw the claw, which I remember speaking about when we saw the claw in I think it was episode 2, was it, or
2
something?
or 3, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we didn't see that for nothing. Same thing with the button in the ship. All those little
and same thing for the triple laser cannon in episode 4.
Yeah, exactly.
On the top of the school.
So we're like, this is planted there for a reason. But like, I mean, that's I guess like any other show, right? Like there's a reason for everything in there. I mean, we finally we saw a lot about how the shield works, and how effective it was for anyone that did dare to go through that storm shield or whatnot. But it was pretty savage. We had also we had Jod that was landing on the planet, posing as a Republic emissary to getting the droids to serve him basically through his stay. And Dom, I know you noticed a few things while they were there in the Mint. Observations from your side.
Yeah, well, first of all, the droid mentioned there's 1,139 vaults like these,
Jesus,
which is one more than 1138, THX 1138, the Lucas movie. Yeah, why? I guess
that's another frustration. It's like no Wilhelm Scream, no 1138s. Come on, guys, you're so close, so close.
And I thought the machines that were handling the vaults kind of looked similar to the machines in the Matrix, where they harvest the humans. So
like the kind of
it gave me some vibes.
Squid-looking robotic
insect
things.
Vibes. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy though that the size of the whole thing, and talking about how many. And it makes you wonder, like, why the hell are they harvesting, or not harvesting, but like, why are they creating and all this money? It's like it's like, what purpose? And it's just there. Like, if they had not discovered this, what was gonna happen? And it's protected. And how long was this gonna go on forever? Right? There's so much speculation.
I think it was going forever. It's like the Kh'ymm cloners. They were building armies, and they built until somebody came and you have an army? Okay, we're gonna take it. I think if nobody would have went to Kh'ymm to collect the clones, they would have just built clones until
somebody finally showed up.
Showed up or something like that. So it's the same thing for the Mint. It was pressing money until forever,
It's pretty cool though when Jod, I think it was like in that episode when he touched, and then all this kind of like started spilling. Like it looked pretty damn cool, like the way they did it. So
and with the close up to the little credits, it kind of reminded me of Belloc in Indiana Jones when he gets close to the Ark, and he's like he has a face like almost possessed.
And the shine of the gold on his face. Yeah.
It had some vibes there.
Was there anything else that you had noticed in that episode, or that we might be missing, or might be worth mentioning before we go to episode 8?
Well, when the parents are sending the message outside the barrier, we briefly hear Neil's mother saying, I have a bad, and then she gets stung by. So we all know what the rest of the phrase was meant to be. So,
but just like I'll bring up a little bit later. I mean, there was a limit on certain, trying to go too far back into either cameos and stuff. But for me, like, one observation I made, and we discussed it earlier, was that damn lightsaber flex at the end of the episode, where I thought, I keep hearing when people always make fun of Darth Maul opening his lightsaber when he was like, on the hologram there, like, and then people were just like, why the hell did he do that? And I thought, like, that episode, like, it just kind of looked weird, just blasted out. It was really just for the cliffhanger, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
The only reason, because I mean, if you just played those two episodes all in one scene, you'd be like, the hell did you do that for, right? Like, why would you kind of like...
It kind of fits Jod's character, though. He's always off the cuff. He's trying to maneuver himself in the situation, and I think he was really pissed at the kids, and he was gonna try to maybe like kill one of them or something like that, but the robot just came and says, "Oh, you're the emissary." So he quickly switched his stance, and that the twist at the start of the episode 8 I was not expecting that, because he went all smooth and Lando like, and then he went into this emissary role, and that way was like unsettling,
But it could have also served as a warning to the kids, like, hey, don't forget, right?
If you
like,
talk too much,
you're here with your parents. Like, look what I'm going to do. And then he puts it away, like, as in, like, don't forget what I have here. So I guess in a way, I mean, it does.
And he told them that he was going to kill their parents, and stuff like that. So it fits with the character.
Yeah, for sure.
And that lightsaber, I don't go tired of seeing it. It kind of reminds me of the first version of the protection and defense lightsaber we could build at on Betu at the Savvy's workshop. So the gold and the silver. Hey, let's be honest. It's going to be sold one day on Betu, that very same lightsaber.
Probably.
I guess we can do the same thing for John's helmet as well. Those are the two easy to call artifacts they're going to sell. So, yes,
could be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So if we carry that into episode 8, looks like we finally got to meet the supervisor, which when he sees, because I mean he left I think everyone behind, but he carried Fern and his mom with him to go see the supervisor, and the supervisor, upon seeing Fern's mother, says, "I have been watching over you and your daughter with great interest." So to me, that as soon as he said that, I'm like thinking about Palpatine when he met Anakin for the first time, and I'm just like, well, like I mean, obviously not a coincidence. And then Jod kind of like tips his deck a little bit by showing his cards by introducing himself as an emissary and a Jedi, which the supervisor picked up on. I don't know if you guys want to elaborate a little bit more on that point there.
Yeah, well, I just like the fact that, we noticed that at least one of his two affirmations was a lie. So which one is the truth? And I really like the fact that, I'm not going to fall for it,
Yeah, because he said, I mean, like one of the last communications that he received is that the Jedis were all traitors. So it's like, well, which one is it, right? So, and then at that point also, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say that it's nice that all around for all the series there was a mystery, and we didn't know since when that planet was hidden and stuff like that. They were talking about the old Republic. Was it the really old Republic or just the Republic before the Empire? So now that we know that the computer or the supervisor knew about the destruction of the Jedi, it must have been like the last emissary that came to the planet must have been just before or as the Order 66 was going on throughout the galaxy. So it was nice that we got some of the mystery or the piece of the puzzle throughout the season. for that.
Speaking of that, then there was also a mention of Jod's origin when he was talking about what happened to him and forced to see his master, I guess, killed in front of him, and so that.
But that was not his master. She was a Jedi on the run that
taught him a couple
things. Cross that kid that had some abilities, a bit like Kanan and Ezra. So he took a. So that's why he was not super powerful as a Jedi. Also, he was just learning a bit, and that was nice.
But then
that made sense.
Raises the question as to when that would have happened to me. Obviously, there's no confirmation of that, but I mean, it's obviously as a result of Order 66. But when is the timing? Is it a little bit later? You know, is it like an Inquisitor that got to that his master, or I mean, his master, the Jedi that was there, or is it, you know, flat out in Order 66? Why was he, you know, left alone? Why was he not killed as well? Obviously, he just didn't show his powers or something, right? So, because he was spared. So,
could be a story similar to Seer Junda and her apprentice that becomes an Inquisitor in Fallen Order, the video game.
Yeah.
So, could be something like that, or maybe.
Or he was just not good enough, and he just didn't. They didn't pick it up in their force meter like the Saiyans in Dragon Ball. You know,
not enough midichlorians.
Yeah, not enough midichlorians. You're not worth it, kid. Go move along.
It's funny because, like, I had kind of predicted that, you know, Jod was going to have like this kind of moment, this revelation where he was going to kind of end up saving the kids against the pirates and just show compassion for.
Yeah. And
then what ended up happening is, like, he was. So there's 2 points that I kind of noticed is Jod, he never killed anyone as far. Or I don't know about. I've never killed. But
he shot
in the opening scene. He
bullet blank right in the face and the claw, you know.
Brutus. He killed Brutus.
No, not killing anyone. He never killed any of the kids nor their family.
Okay.
So he wasn't Brutus, whatever, is a pirate, right? Like, so, like,
but that was nasty.
With all those, but with all those threats, but with all those threats and all those opportunities he had to either shoot or kill one of the parents or the kids, he never did it. So it that kind of like stuck out to me. And then in the end, the one who was the most compassionate was at the very end when Kh'ymm is, you know, everything's going down, and Kh'ymm's the one looking at Jod and saying, Jod, like, are you coming? Like, after all that, Kh'ymm is the one that proves himself to compassion. To be more of a Jedi behavior, I guess, than him, right? So it shows that, like, I don't know, I find, like, in the end, like, he didn't want to hurt them. He even said it because I don't want to hurt anybody, and he didn't, right? So I mean, Brutus to me is like, whatever. I mean, I think he kind of had it coming in the end with their relationship. But I don't know, it's something that kind of stuck out to me.
Earlier in the show, he could have just killed or not killed, but or hurt Fern when he challenged her for the captain. To be the captain of the ship, and he was just like, yield, come on, yield. He didn't want to hurt them.
He had plenty of opportunity, but he didn't prove to be ruthless with the children. You could see that there was, you know, he spent a lot of time with them still, and I don't think that's, and he was with a Jedi for a while. So, like, I mean, to kill a pirate to me is like, whatever, you know, like, but because Brutus wanted to kill him, right? So and who knows, Brutus might have ended up killing him in the end.
I think that's why he killed him. That's why he huffed him.
Because Brutus mentioned the airlock like, what, 10 times?
Yeah. So he's like, I'm not gonna find out if I'm gonna end up in that thing and just take him out, right? So, so there was also a prediction. We thought in a pirate show, a Star Wars pirate show, we would see Hondo, and I think every episode we spoke about it. But that didn't happen.
I guess that's my major bummer for the show.
There was no cameo. There was nobody.
But that's it, right? That's another way of seeing it.
If he was to be used as a cameo, I'd rather not see him. And guess what? If the show is as well received as I think it is, and it's still, you know, there's not a big conclusion to the final episode, like, that's it, the story is done, it's all left in the open, Why not go with season 2, and then you bring Ando as maybe the main villain of the show?
Well, it's kind of like, it's kind of similar to what they did with the Mandalorian. You're thinking Mandalorian, oh, Boba Fett's going to be in it, right? We all thought that episode one, and we did have his feet at one point. But we all thought we're going to get Boba Fett in the Mandalorian because it's a show about Mandalorians, and he was more, I don't know, he wasn't the focus, but he was a major part of season 2. So maybe that's what's going to happen. We have the introduction, we know the characters, and all of a sudden, okay, let's go down this pirate route a little bit more, which would be a little weird because I would think that it'd be more towards Kh'ymm, heading towards being, him. I mean, is he going to explore being a Jedi or being the good guy, right, or whatnot? But
I see him piloting an X-wing one day.
Yeah,
because he was looking at the X-wing at the very end. His smirk at the end wasn't because he wouldn't have to pass the test. It was because he was watching the good guys coming to the rescue.
What?
And if you remember, in the very first episode, he mentioned that he wanted to help people out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he did.
He saw real policemen. He saw. Well, it's like
he looks up at the sky and he sees space. He doesn't see the limitation of the shield or whatever was up, like what was there before. He sees the space and he sees opportunity to not have to be on this planet and serve this supervisor, right? He sees like something like that. It's almost like it was limitless, right? The possibilities at this point, just like space was, like everyone's like expression when the shield went down and they finally saw the stars. Like, my God, could you imagine like the especially the adults that have been there forever looking up and seeing what they had before with those kind of red lights or whatever. And now they finally see what it really looks like. So, but for me, like that, there was a little bit of like that, open-endedness to the whole series that seems to be a little bit common with Disney Plus because of, obviously, you don't want to close the door on another series, but at one point it gets a little bit old for me that it's everything's like that. The only one that they kind of gave closure to, I guess, in the end was Mando season 3, where they really kind of like closed the door, and like if they didn't make another episode, you'd be kind of fine with it. But this was like, man, we don't know what's going to happen.
It needed a 2 weeks later, see the kids where they are and stuff like that, like back in action, playing lightsabers again in the streets and stuff like that. So that was missing for real.
Yeah, it could have I don't know, comforted us, letting us know that, because I mean the pirate ship went down. Obviously, it didn't blow up. So Urkel's probably still alive. They kind of landed in the water. Then what's going on with the kids? Are they going to rebuild the city or the shield? I guess, are they going to put that back up? There's a ton of money there to be had, and now they're not protected anymore. The supervisor, is he coming back? Are they going to rebuild? They're going to fix? Are they going to govern themselves now? And if they do, to what purpose? Right? Like they're still just going to keep mining and
they've got enough money to rebuild though.
Jeez.
They have enough money to rebuild the whole galaxy.
Yeah, but think about it, right? Like their currency there. Look how many credits he gave Kh'ymm to buy his lunches or whatever it was, right? And because all that
too much.
Yeah, but exactly. So like their money there is worth nothing.
But only one bar was like he could have bought the old
exactly.
pirate port.
Exactly.
So
there's riches, but I mean, obviously, there's no reference to any of this stuff like in the sequels. But I don't know. There's just a lot of questions that I thought that they could have wrapped.
It was nice to see Neil finding the courage to speak to Runa.
Oh yes, yeah.
He forgot about it. She's not worth it anymore. He's a real man now.
He's a player.
Neil Nation. He's still thinking about that kiss. He doesn't care about the little girl, man.
Speaking of Neil, though, what's that on your thing? So let's speak about it. I saw it on Facebook, but
it's my girlfriends make beading arts, so she, with beads, and she made a little Neil, and because in her home, Neil is the superstar of the show. We want a spin-off of Neil's adventures and stuff like that, and and she even went as to put like the backing in the back is the same color as his
Same red as
overalls,
his, yeah.
and
Wow.
the the circle around it is the same color as his shirt. So
Wow.
that's pretty cool, and it's all beading, so it's all beads and stuff like that. So we really love Neil in my house.
Yeah.
He's a superstar.
He was lovable, so like there could be a little animated series or whatever having him included or whatever, and I'm sure that they can do something with him.
Let's hope.
Yeah, the animated series. Why not?
Yeah. No, we want the same actor, not in the animation. The real deal, the real Neil.
Okay.
That's what we want.
But you know what? Like that's a good segue, I guess, into what is coming up next, right? Like with all this now, because the fact that this was more of a younger generation show, I guess, if you want to call it, because of the whole Goonies and his kids and all this stuff. I didn't ever really look at it that way, to be honest. When I watched it, I thought it was just good Star Wars, and I didn't have any problem with the fact that it was kids. I mean, I never watched Goonies today, even now, and think that's a kids movie.
A kids show is like Jedi, the cartoon with nubs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's a kids show.
Galaxy of Adventure, right?
I don't know. I got through like 3 episodes and I couldn't do it anymore.
Jedi something. I just have the TV show with Ahmed Best, Jedi Temple Adventure, but that's not the name. But that's a kids show. This is a family show. It's for the family, the whole thing, the whole group, the younglings and the old ones. Everybody need and they. I thought it was a kids show or a young show, but violence in that show is quite there.
Well, it's like the Clone Wars,
couple of
right?
times.
If you watch the Clone Wars, at the first season, you're just like, geez. Like, if you're as a grown adult, will be like, okay, this is for kids. Then you get to like second season, you're just like, wait a minute, that guy get decapitated?
You just took up a notch. Yeah, took up a notch.
Like, and this one, did they put all the pirates in a bath of acid? Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They didn't show it, but yeah. So and I think that that's where you said it's for everyone. There's something for everyone. The kids can watch these kids and be relatable and think, oh, I could be a hero of a story or whatnot, just like we had with Goonies, right? So I think that it was for everyone, and I think we were hearing that the ratings for the first 2 episodes were out. Being among some of the lowest
lower than the Acolyte.
Yeah. And even the Acolytes, I think they've had a decent showing for their first episodes.
Yeah, well, they sold a show as a dark side perspective. It was gonna there was gonna have Carrie Ann Moss in it, stuff. We were expecting big thing with Acolyte, so people show up.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out that way. But.
Well, I mean,
Skeleton Crew, they sold it as a kids show, and it was a kids show from the Goonies show or Hades Adventure, and it was it from start to finish. And people were maybe mad at what happened before, and
well, that's it. I mean, I think Dom, maybe you can give us your opinion on this, but I read a few times that it was, the Skeleton Crew was to Acolytes what Solo was to The Last Jedi, in terms of like people are just like, you know what, I'm just like, a lot of people got out of The Last Jedi, either didn't like it or there was too much too fast. I don't think it was too much too fast with Skeleton Crew, but it was just like it divided that. To me, the Acolytes have a lot of similarity with The Last Jedi in terms of how it divided the fan base. And pinned them against each other, and social media was just like absolutely ridiculous to read. And I feel like
because Last Jedi was so divisive, I guess.
It left a bad taste in people's mouths, right? So
sour taste, and then Solo comes out, a movie that no one ever asked for, but there was also a question of bad timing because of that Marvel movie that came out the weekend before or after. It was Endgame, right?
No, Infinity War. I think.
Infinity War, yeah, that's it. So talk about bad timing. I mean, I guess if the movie had come out in December instead of May or June, he would have done way better, and we wouldn't be talking about what happened with Solo.
Yeah.
Because if you take the time to watch Solo, it's a pretty darn good movie.
I love it, honestly.
I really enjoyed it. I mean,
it's a really great movie. I watched it on Friday, and I'm gonna tell you, I watched Last Jedi last night. Well, I started it. It's a beautiful movie. It's not a good Star Wars.
Visually,
it's beautiful.
Visually, it looks
beautiful.
Nice. But even then, it's to me, it still serves as beautiful as the last. Now we're completely digressing, but I mean, as beautiful as I think it is visually, it's still extremely inconsistent because it's not Doug Chang, right? And you can see it's not. It's just different. It doesn't have like it's not warm at all, right? I don't know how to explain that, but it's very red, black, bold, white. Like it's very like, you know, basic colors, but it's bold, it's very sharp, and it doesn't fit. But you know, the movie doesn't fit, in my opinion, with the whole thing. So
I mean, totally.
And you can make correlations between the Canto Bight scenes and the spa scenes in episodes. Was it episode 6, 5, and 6? I guess. You know, all the luxury and you know, everything looks pretty and you know, untouched by war and everything. And so I was afraid we would go down the Canto Bight way, but ultimately it fitted perfectly in the show, and it did find a way to make it you know, make sense.
But if you look at this show, and one thing that I did, like we had spoken about, you know, where I mean, Nico, we referenced the comment you made when you said, you know, like you look at the Acolytes as $320 million show, like where the hell did that money go? Because you look at the Acolytes, I mean, you look at the Skeleton Crew, it feels like Star Wars, it looks like Star Wars. I mean, you got Doug Chang that's obviously involved in this one. This
and Phil Tippett's crew for the stop motion.
The cinematography, all this stuff. It just you look at it, feels like
great.
Star Wars. Yeah, and just like you can see, and as much as people can want to identify that, like, you know, oh, people didn't like the Acolytes because of this, that, and like whether it be like, you know, whatever political stance you have, it has nothing to do with that. Just look at them. Look at the two shows. It just it sticks out. The one looks like Star Wars, one doesn't. One feels like Star Wars, one doesn't. Like the story, everything, it didn't feel like anything was being rammed down our throats, and that includes not a whole bunch of cameos and all this stuff, right? Like I think Dom, you had mentioned, like, you know, who the possibilities were endless to who showed up at the end, right? Like who could have shown up at the end, having another cameo with, like, you know, a Carrie Fisher, kind of like a
at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah, like so
like they did, you know.
Or a Luke at the end of season 2 of Mando.
Yeah.
The
it would have been
possibility
very easy to do so.
Carson Teva in the X-Wing could have been him, or
because it's the first show for the Mandoverse that we don't see Carson Teva, right?
I was sad though.
Yeah,
I would have loved.
There's so much. I mean, they didn't abuse. But obviously, you know, you can't go and include anyone from Rebels and all that stuff, because the thing is, you're kind of spoiling what's going to happen maybe in the Mando movie. But like, there was just endless possibilities to what they could have done. They didn't try to include C-3PO or whatever, like, you know, to try to jam it in there. Exactly. So I mean, except for the pirate that we've seen
that nobody knows about him
from Mando.
And Nico, you're a Black Series action figure collector. Yeah. Can you confirm me the fact that there is no Carson Teva Black Series action figure?
Yeah, there's no Carson Teva action series figures, but there is a helmet.
Yeah, I know, but I have it in my place. But
but no,
the action figure,
Katie Sackhoff said in one of her interviews that there was one, but there's no Black series about of Carson Teva.
No, I don't remember seeing one.
They need to make it, man.
Yeah.
Did you get the ones from the Skeleton Crew?
Not yet, but I'm under contract to buy the Neil figure. At least Neil. Yeah. We need Neil. Otherwise, I'm gonna sleep on the couch.
I don't think you have a crazy kind of Grogu thing, but I think if you sold some figures, and you know what's sad is, like, you know, to talk about, like, you know, the audience, I guess, in general, like what's to come now, and and the direction. Because after Solo, I mean, if I don't know, it was Kathleen Kennedy or whatever that said we're gonna go back to the drawing board and look at these releases and the frequency in which we do it and all this stuff, and things got a little bit more calm. And I think that they kind of went back to like maybe their old ways of just trying to like pump out stuff just for the heck of it, or maybe not having quite the direction that you think that they would. And look at where they're at now, right? They're reimagining or what they're going to do with the trilogy that's going to come out. That's changed 3 times already. You know, you had one person at a show that got canceled, one person at a movie that got canceled. It just keeps changing back and forth. It seems like they're scrambling based on the reactions of what's been going out. So it's unfortunate, and so like I guess they just need to identify who's their audience, and as much as they want to, you know, there's the acolytes fans, and then there's the, you know, the fans that will probably maybe appreciate something more like the Skeleton Crew and the youth in general. When I think of that, I think of like there's a Toys R Us was closing right by my house. I sent you guys some pictures a couple times of the crazy special that we're having. One of the things at the very end, the last day that was left, there was almost nothing left in the whole store. But one of the things I thought was sad that was still on the shelf was the toys from that animated Star Wars series that you mentioned earlier, right? The Jedi.
The kids, like the nubs and the
that stuff was still there. Like not all of it, but like that was one of the main things, that there was multiple items that was still on the shelf with the little blue bear, I forget his name, and all this stuff. I'm just like I can't believe that, you know, that was on the shelves. That a shelf full of that before they decided to close. And I'm like, man, they had no chance at ever selling it, because even at like 80% off, it wasn't selling.
It wasn't selling.
It was crazy. Like, so I ended up buying a couple figures because it cost me $12 Canadian for a Black Series. But like, other than that, like, it was just like no one was buying this stuff, and it's just sad that
the
was
thing
one
is
of the
about that
things.
shows. That show especially is if as a parent, you need to know that it exists, and if you're not a hardcore Star Wars fan, you won't know that it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You don't have Disney Plus, the kids will never know about that show. So that's why it's very hard. Because I talked about that show to a coworker of mine who has a small girl, and he showed her that, and he didn't even know that it existed. He showed her that, and she went bonkers. She left every Paw Patrol, everything got out of the way. And he bought everything, all the toys, but that's because I told him about it. It's not because
there's a lot of
he knew it,
right? In that kind of like age range.
So that's why
your Paw Patrol and what's it called? Not Teletubbies did come back. Yeah, PJ Masks, Miraculous is like in that kind of like little kids things, and Coco Melon and
there's lots of
Gabby.
So if you don't know it's on Disney Plus, nobody's gonna see it.
Yeah, so maybe the advertisement department is to blame for the failure or failure.
Well, it's just
we know about it because Batu is shown in that show, you know.
Yeah, because what better way it is to introduce very young kids to Star Wars? I mean, it's just
that was a great show.
The values that are talked about and everything, you know, help your friends and be kind to each other and share with your friends, stuff like that. I mean, it's.
But there's also something that, like, you know, us, like, being, you know, a little bit more aggressive in terms of our fandom, right? Like, and look at our collections that we have and stuff like that. But, like, to the average person, not everything has to be Star Wars, right? And my kids grew up watching a whole bunch of stuff, whether it be, like, Paw Patrol and all that stuff. And I wasn't forcing Star Wars down their throats. And the kids like what they like, and it's hard to, like, to tell. Even today, like, my kid watches stuff on Netflix. I'm just like, ugh. Can't believe you watch this crap, right? Like, so, like, who knows what they're gonna gravitate to. And then I think that there's some part that might be a little bit naive, where we think, oh, kids want to watch the kids stuff. Kids like Stormtroopers, man. We didn't have kids shows. We were kids. We were kids when this came out, like the original trilogy, right? We liked the Stormtroopers. We liked the Darth Vaders. We liked the Luke Skywalkers and all this stuff. We didn't have no kids shows, right? Like, the closest thing we ever got to a kids show was a Christmas special.
And the Ewoks.
Yeah, exactly.
And droids.
But like that, so like I think it may be kind of like
nobody loved those shows.
Those shows, that's it. Yeah.
Nobody watched droids. Nobody watched Ewoks. Nobody watched.
But I think even when the prequels or the sequels came out, the different generations that come along, like my kid freaked out over the First Order Stormtrooper. He loves the First Order Stormtroopers and all that, this kind of stuff, right? So like maybe the answer is not this little kid stuff that they try to put out. I'm sure they'll get some, but then like to your point, Dominic, like you have limited amount of resources for marketing, right? Paw Patrol, that's all. We're going all in. We're all Paw Patrol, whether it be Nickelodeon, whatever. They're gonna like Star Wars. Like, well, we got to market this. We got Disney. We got to market this. They're not going to put that much marketing power behind a show like that Paw Patrol would behind theirs, right? Like live shows, movies, and all this stuff. We're not going to get all that, right? So
no, but you put your money on Mandalorian or Ahsoka, I guess,
or Acolytes, $320 million. So,
yeesh, would have loved to eat those bagels.
Caviar flavored bagels.
Caviar bagels, yeah.
Everything bagels really had everything, yeah. So,
and more,
gold flakes and stuff like that.
So what do you think for you guys is next now after this? Like what? I mean, I'd love it to have another season.
I wouldn't mind. That's what I was about to say. I wouldn't mind having a season 2 of the Skeleton Crew. Maybe that picks up a few weeks after, and the kids are like, "Well, I'm bummed. We had so much of a high during our adventure. What do we do now to top that?" And something comes up, and they have to go again, and
I mean, it's hard to start them on another adventure though, because it's not like they're adults and stuff like that, so they cannot go, hey Dad, I'm taking your ship and I'm going out of space.
That's it.
It was a special circumstances that put them together, right? So
that's why it's kind of hard to go on a second season.
Yeah,
but I
what
wish
if the kids find out that John is about to be trialed or even worse, executed by the New Republic for what he did, and the kids they leave for Coruscant to plead for John because it wasn't all that bad. It was bad, but
or they're just there as witness and they go on another adventure and they get kidnapped and stuff like that.
That's it. They help him escape.
Yeah, that could be another way.
Season 2 begins.
On their way on a trial on Coruscant or whatever planet now it's not Coruscant, it's the Osnian Prime because it's the New Republic. So on Osnian Prime, and that could be nice.
The only problem I think
it's still Coruscant in the Mandoverse. I think the New Republic.
Sure? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think so. Yeah. So because we see the big rock with
that's
with the Dr.
right?
Pershing. So it must still be Coruscant. But I guess we should edit this portion out and save this idea for ourselves and send the script to Lucasfilm.
Yeah. my only issue, I guess, is I think that by the time of season 2 of this would come out, we're looking at maybe 3 to 4 years, and those kids are not going to look like kids anymore, right? So they're not going to look anything like. So you can't do it 2 weeks later kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, with the rate that they're taking out stuff, it's not going to happen. So
but I'm really missing the 2 weeks later thing. It would have been so nice to see all the kids now as a unit, because when we start the show, it's Wim and Neil and KB and Fern, and now the 4 kids are together and reliving their adventure, like on a rock and with sticks or whatever, not sticks, but just reliving an adventure, but not a real one, just as their souvenir and stuff like that. It would have been.
It almost feels like they didn't want to commit to what was happening next, right? Because you can't have one without the other. You can't show the kids and not show what's going on with Jod. You can't show, did they imprison all the pirates? It's just like there was too many things that they're just like, I'll just kind of like, leave it like that. And hopefully they give us another season, right? So
what if it does happen like 4 years later? But we all know that the things in the New Republic are not moving fast because of bureaucracy. So John could still be waiting for his trial 4 years later. It would make it even worse. He's been in jail for all those years, and we're about to find out what comes, what happens to him after all these years. So I don't know.
In my mind, Judd just stayed there and now he has his old treasure for him. So he says, "Oh, I destroyed this planet, this beautiful like civilization or people that live there that are very friendly and stuff like that," and just sits there and starts to be like the new protector of the planet, and or like the new supervisor, because if he destroyed the whole thing, but then again at the end Wim was like, "Come on, man," and he just like turn, and that's a bit of a look that he gave at the end, though. He's like looking outside, and he's just like, "Well, I have my treasure here, why not protect it, because now there's no more force field around it, so people will come and try to destroy it. Let's be the treasure keeper, you know."
Yeah. I mean,
that would be nice.
His speech is all about like not having to scrape anymore, right? And like and trying, he was tired of being hungry and all this stuff. But like now, is it like too late? Like it's not like, if people are not going to realize that all that stuff happened because of him in the end, right? So it's like it's very curious to know what would happen at the end of this. I mean, I think if they'd never made another season, I think it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. Like it's not, I'm not going to go and make a petition that I want another. I mean, I think it was really good.
It was great ending.
Yeah. So very open-ended, but like who knows what they want to do with it afterwards. But like I said, it's not like I wasn't left with like some kind of like, I'd love to have another one, but it's a nice to have. It's not absolutely necessary.
If you go watch on Disney Plus, it says season 1. It doesn't say limited series.
Oh, really?
It never says limited series. No.
Oh.
On Disney Plus, it's always season 1. Was
even for let's say Kenobi?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they can always change that wording, right? I mean, it doesn't really make it.
No, but I mean, I think the template of Disney Plus doesn't change. Never change like
they never commit until it's
no, but I mean it's for Disney Plus. It's like it's all season 1 or season something. Okay. When they go to the awards, they say it's a limited series, but in the like interface of Disney Plus, it's always like season 1. It's never like nothing, it's season 1, episode 1. Okay. Even though if there's only just one season.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe we can wrap it up with the overall impressions.
One last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
How do we connect with the First Order? Does that money that the New Republic has found going to be wasted in bureaucracy and poor money investments, and they're going to end up with the First Order, or
they need to
will that money be stolen by the loyalists of the Empire?
It's what paid for Starkiller Base.
Oh, it's what paid for the Acolyte,
Yeah.
All the budget all the cash went in the Acolyte.
Yeah. And they're printing money. They're hoping to print money after that disaster. But I mean, and not to hate on. I mean, it's really not.
But it could be related to that money can be related to the first Order and stuff like that. So the Maxian Prime and
to build all those new Star Destroyers and TIE fighters.
There's a big gap, right? And there's a lot of stuff they can kind of insert in there. But I think at one point, who was it that said he was writing a new movie or something, and he wasn't limited by
James Mangold, but it's for the dawn of the Jedi 25,000 years before.
I know,
so for Jedi Prime.
But the fact that he doesn't have to worry about all this kind of canon stuff, right? That's included in all these trilogies and all that. You can be free with what you want to do and not worry about it because it's just a complete different timeline. So I think that like where I'm going with this is that like at one point you want to move out of like filling these gaps between the sequels, the prequels, the original trilogy and all this stuff. Like go move on forward and then like don't worry about, I mean, don't forget the past, but don't worry about having to include, oh yeah, but this guy was still alive, and or having to make the audience think, well, when's this happening? Because I mean, I don't know how many times we ask these questions when they make a new show or new series, like, well, when's this? And trying to find the timeline, and even people that are casual fans will just be like, oh, so when does this happen? Is this like, why don't we? What was it? People are asking, where's Finn and Ray when you're watching The Mandalorian? I'm like, geez, okay. Like, you know, like they don't understand where it is, and it's fine. It's obviously normal that not everyone's gonna understand. But like, make it to a point where like, okay, we have the Star Wars, the Luke Skywalker saga, whatever you want to call it. Let's move on, right? And have something built afterwards.
Well, that's what they did with the High Republic, but for now it's
not far enough. It was not far enough.
It's not far. Well, yeah, 1,000 years.
Well, they should have gone as the cataclysm happened, or the like the Nihils and stuff like that. Why just it was not far enough?
Yeah.
Why Plagueis? Plagueis is linked to
Sidious and
Palpatine.
Well, they had that and they busted a few things already, right?
I meant the books when I said the High Republic. I mean the books began 1,000 years before the Republic that we knew, the Skywalker saga. So that's you know a lot of years, but they could still go 10,000 years back and do the Old Republic stuff.
Yeah, but they also could do stuff in between each of the original trilogy movie, like in the comic books. They crammed 50 issues of comic books right between Empire and Jedi
books and stuff. But I'm just saying, so I mean, that's all it is, right? Right now, like with the exception of the Acolytes, it's all been stuff that's been slotted in between, trying to fill the gaps you have as far as video games, TV shows, or whatnot that's filling in. But like, it'd be cool if someone could just take a project and run with it, and not have to worry about like, well, the fans are gonna crap on me because I didn't include this, or the timing on this is off, or this guy's here, that's not how he was, and so maybe like move forward away from it. But I mean, I think that's what I would probably like to see eventually in Star Wars, just like get away from the saga and like have your fillers every once in a while, but like to move on. But if I were to give this show a rating, might seem like it's low, but I think a 7.5. And just because like for me, like an Andor is like a 9, maybe 9 plus. So I don't think it's for me. I think, and we spoke about generations, kids and adults, like, and maybe Andor's a bit more of an adult show, but I think this is a really good show, and 7.5 or 75% on 100 is really not a bad score. It's for me, that is a must watch. It's a good score, but like, I don't think it's Andor level to me. And I think that there was a couple things. I was a little disappointed by the ending. But overall, I would rewatch, no problem, right? Like for me, that's a 7.5, and I don't even want to tell you what an Acolyte's score is to me, but like, trust me, it's nowhere near 7.5. So
yeah, well, if I go second, I'm leaning your way, Eric. Maybe I'll give it an 8. Definitely not a 9. I agree with you that Andor and Rogue One could be 9s. And the original trilogy would be a 10, maybe. But now we have to, question ourselves on the prequels and the sequels and
there's
the
so
other
much
series.
content, right? Like it's
there's so much content to, I would need like a spreadsheet, just to rank everything. But if I was a kid, a 12 years old kid, I would have given it an 8 out of 10, I guess, because I could see them recapture what we saw in the Goonies and the E.T. and all those emblem movies we loved as kids. So putting myself in a 12 years old kid's shoe would give it an 8. Perhaps as a 40-something years old man, like you guys, I would give it, maybe 7.5. So it depends where you stand.
I'll be transparent. I mean, like, I'm giving it 7.5. Right? It's just because I don't want to go and give it 7.8. Whatever. Like, I'm trying to stick with a 0.5. But if I were to be really precise,
7.58.
It'd be like in between, like a 7.8. Like it's bordering on the edge, right? Really like on something like that. Like, but again, 7.5 is fine for me compared to the other shows. If I were to start grading up to Mando and Andor and all this stuff, like, it's hard for me to justify putting that one in the same bracket. So, and Nick,
well, like you guys, it's hard to like it's a fun show. It's well made. It's an adventure from the start to the end. The mystery is there all the way until the end. We never suspected anything from like episode 2. Oh, I know the answer, stuff like that. So it was a well-made show. It's easy to put 7.5, 8 also. It makes sense. I don't think like the 9 and the 10s, you need to leave it for the real great stuff. And that's why it's hard to put numbers on it. Like you said, it's a must watch. I suggest everybody who's on the fence about that show to
give it a shot.
To give it a shot and watch it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I mean, it's so much fun. It's an adventure, and just for Neil, for the Neil Nation people around here, it's a 12 out of 10. So, but I mean, yeah, it's such a fun show. It sticks together all the way for the 8th episode of the show, and it's just fun.
Yeah, and
that's they put fun back in Star Wars.
And I think that was the main thing, is like when I first watched the 2 first episodes, I'm just like, this just, it feels good. I didn't like stop watching the show going, ugh, I don't like this, this, and like, like there was nothing. And sometimes like it's not even like, even when I watch the Acolytes, it's not that I have anything against anything, whether it be like sexuality or race or whatever, but I watch it and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna blow up on the internet. Like I know it right away, and then I hate the fact that it's gonna divide the fan base, because I see it. I'm like, this is not gonna go over well with some people. There's not one thing that I watched in that show going, oh my god, they're gonna talk about this on Facebook. It's gonna be all over social media.
Though.
Like, I know, but like, if and to go back to what Dom said, I think we even mentioned that in the first times we started reviewing this, is like, if you watch this and you go, oh, this was a show about a bunch of kids, then what the hell preview did you watch? Like, they did not hide this. They were completely transparent about what this was going to be.
That's what they sell us. Yeah. That's what they sold us. So they sold a Goonies type adventure, and that was it from start to the end. It was not.
For that, kudos for to the marketing department at Disney. They gave us what was advertised. So
so
props to what's his name? James Watts?
John Watts.
John Watts and Christopher Ford. So they crafted a well put up story, and I think they deserve the praise on that show. It's not just Filoni and Favreau now. It's John Watts made a great show.
But even then, look at the formula, right? Look, different directors. You had the same kind of formula as Mando in a way, right? Where they didn't just
they had a showrunner.
Exactly.
Just as Mando.
Yeah. So it wasn't just like, here, do what you want and just make sure everyone has amazing bagels. And it was really like, it wasn't like there's no stuff, you have no choice but to work as a team and build a product as a team, which is not what happened with the previous series. So
maybe to avoid high catering fees, they should return to the formula where they did use the actual name of the show, like Blue Harvest for Return of the Jedi, and the folk didn't know that it was a Star Wars project,
Yeah.
No, I think they're burned everywhere. Like, they know. The caterer knows the guy who's come for to take the order is from Disney, so he's putting out the big checks.
But overall, I think it was a lot more positive. It's unfortunate that this is not what came out before the Acolytes. I think the order would have been a little bit more different.
It should have been released in 2020, at the end of 2023.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out before
it was supposed to go before the Acolyte.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess
maybe they had more time to work on it, and they saw what it could have be better.
Maybe it was for the best, but we'll never know. We never saw the original cut, if there was an original cut. So.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we will never know, but I think in the end it did suffer, like we said, because of the Acolytes in terms of ratings. But I mean, we'll keep a close eye on what's coming up, I guess, and then hopefully if Disney sees it, the viewership and the response to it got better after the first 2 episodes, then. And that's what a lot of people just fail to understand, is that the viewership for the Acolyte just was decreasing. So I mean, another 8 episodes. How far down do you want this to go, right? So, I don't know.
Because in the early days on IMDb, there was a character that never showed up on the final cut of the show, and her last name was Nada Wood, just like Jod. So, was she supposed to be the Jedi that took him under her wing? And
took the name.
There would have been some flashback shots, and they were removed from the show. So what happened to that character? I guess we'll never know unless they make a second season and they decide to use those flashbacks for that season 2. But that was a character that was completely cut out of the show. So
I guess that kind of closes some of the speculation, unless they just went a complete different direction. But that the Jedi that was killed was no one that we're aware of, or that we would have known, right? That was part of any.
Yeah, they kept in mind the flashbacks from the Boba Fett show, and they said, "Oh, let's remove that."
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, thanks guys thanks Nick for joining us on this.
Thanks for having me.
And I guess we'll see each other. I don't know when the next release is going to come out, but
next show is Endor at the end of April. So
that's going to be good.
Yeah, those 3 months are going to be a long wait.
Yeah. And I know there's
I'm hoping we're going to see some teasers and something because some folks saw it at the D23 last September. They saw some teasers. I can't wait to see some HD 4K images, because I saw the held on camera shaking. The Blair Witch Project versions of the teaser. So, but I can't wait to see the good one.
We can get together and maybe do a trailer reaction or something like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen at Celebration and what they're going to announce, because right now, in terms of what's to come after Andor, there's stuff with Ahsoka. We're hearing now that like Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are going to be part of it. So we'll finally get to see our clone, I guess Obi-Wan, or their armored Obi-Wan maybe. But other than that, there's not much. Great. Yeah, there's not much solid direction what's going on with the Rey project and all this stuff. So I'm curious to see it until we get some final. I'm hearing 2 new animated series are coming, so who knows? So, but all right, well,
the wait shouldn't be.
Who knows with Lucasfilm?
Yeah,
anything goes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good segue with the Indiana Jones song. Anything goes.
Anything goes. Such a good game, guys. Play Indiana Jones if you can.
I'm
awesome.
waiting for PS5. It's
it's in April, I think.
I think so. It's my kid has. I actually downloaded it on my kid's Xbox, but I can't see myself going to spend hours in front of my kid's at his desk. So I think it's going to be I'm going to wait for the PS5 release.
So good.
Since I can play it, I'm watching Nico's play along on Twitch.
Yeah, I might have played offline. I'm kind of a bit
you don't want to
further than I was.
Okay, well, I think I'm one video, and I still have one video left to watch. So I guess I should hurry up before Twitch removes it. But I'll be. Will it still be there, or is it going to be gone in about a week?
No, I think it's a month.
A month? Okay, I'm still good.
I'm gonna just go see. Well, yeah, but I mean, I've been playing without streaming it, so.
Well, since you were talking about your Twitch channel, please, why don't you mention your socials?
My socials is at Nico Crank, pretty much everywhere. Twitch. We have also On Jase Marvel YouTube channel, so it's On Jase Marvel. We talk about Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, and stuff like that. And Instagram is Nico Crank 45. So.
And more importantly, does your girlfriend offer those meal?
Oh yeah. Well, she hasn't started
mass production,
but her Instagram is made a force bead with you, like beading. So and she makes some custom made geeky beading heart.
Well, she's very talented.
We'll make sure to have all that in the descriptions. And for us, I mean, Dom and myself, if you're watching this, you've watched it on one of the channels, so we'll leave it on that. But our socials are there as well. So, Dom, you want to talk us out?
Yes. So, well, thank you guys for watching the show. We can't wait for another Star Wars show to be out so we can talk some more about Star Wars. And until then, may the Force be with you always.